right, y'all. This is another episode with the Public Therapy Podcast with your host, Chris.
And Ray.
And today we have with us relationship sex coach, Michiko Riezz. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. Riezz. And then, so you're from I know your email, it said Lioness Academy.
Yes.
Is it like the name of your company or?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the name of my company.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from?
Well, hello, everybody. All you listeners, my name is Michiko Riezz. So we got that part straight. I am originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I live in Germany with my husband and our two beautiful teenage children.
Okay. So how long have you lived in Germany for?
I've been here since, 15? My son is 16. Oh my God. 17 years.
Wow. Okay. So your husband is German?
No, my husband is actually from Argentina.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so how did y'all meet, if you don't mind asking?
Oh, well, my father was in the military. So I'm an Army brat, of course, thank you, all the soldiers. And my father was stationed here in Germany, and I just finished high school. It was my last summer here in Germany, and my husband was evidentially supposed to be the man I married, because I ran into him, I ran into him at the train station trying to catch my next train to do my last girls' night. It was my last weekend in Germany. My last girls' night with my friends in a really big city, Frankfurt. And I ran into him. He was just coming from school, so everything was flying in the air. I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, I don't got time for this. I gotta go. I'm sorry. Left, went to my friend's house. We got ready, went and had our beautiful girls' night. And there he was again, sitting at a two-person's table with his best friend. And the first thing that came to my mind was, of course, that beautiful man had to be gay.
I know. Okay.
And it's always like that. The guys that you really, really like, they're either taken or gay. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, my luck. But I couldn't have a relationship because this was Saturday, and Monday morning I was on the plane to Penn State University.
Okay.
But I didn't want to pass up on my opportunities after we started flirting, what he always likes to call, we started playing tennis,
back and
throwing
forth.
balls back at each other. And we got into a conversation. Everything was going good. And I was like, okay, well, it's now or never. I'm going to regret this if I don't do anything. So my husband was actually a one-night stand.
Okay. Okay.
The best night of my life, packed my stuff and left. There was no phone number, no address, no nothing. All he knew was that I was going back to Philadelphia and I would start at school.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know where. He didn't even know anything about me but my first name. That was it. A year later, I'm walking through my campus and I see him from behind. I was like, no, that can't be. And I call his name and he turns around and it was him. So the universe was telling me, girl, that's yours.
Yeah.
You better claim him.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And he was only in the States for a year. He was doing his 1 year overseas, and he left and my heart broke. My parents were still here in Germany. I called my dad up and I was like, I miss you guys so much. I want to come home. If I would have told my parents I was coming home because of a dude, it would have never happened. And my dad was like, are you serious? You never wanted to be here? Yeah, I want to come home. Daddy, please let me come home. So I enrolled into Maryland University.
Okay.
American University here in Germany.
Mm.
where American soldiers and their family members were allowed to visit school, and I stayed.
UMUC?
Excuse me?
The UMUC? That
Yeah.
college? Okay, yeah. Okay.
And I stayed, and it's been this way we just celebrated on the 5th of May, we celebrated our 18th anniversary.
That's awesome.
So he came to the States to your university.
Yep.
That was supposed to happen.
Was he looking for you?
No.
Oh my goodness.
At least that's not what he told you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
he was like, I'm gonna try to run into her again. I'm gonna try to
all he knew was that I was in Philadelphia. How
Yeah.
many colleges does Philadelphia have? Like, how that cannot be a coincidence that it had to be my university. It had to be my campus. And it had to be like, he's walking in front of me. I'm like, I know that ass.
That's funny.
And look at his hair, and I was like, wait a minute. It can't be. So I called him, and he turned around, and it was like, those movies where everything goes into slow motion?
Hmm.
That was our moment. And I was just, oh my God. And through we really started dating. It got really serious, and through how we were talking. I was born in Germany, in Stuttgart, Germany, and the day I was born, he was with his parents visiting friends in Stuttgart, Germany. Our paths had constantly crossed each other through the decades.
Right.
But because we have such a long age difference, he's 6 years older than I am, it would have never happened. Even if we actually did see each other, it would have never happened, because at that time, I was a baby for him. Right. So, and even when in my teen years, when our paths crossed again, he was out of school. I was still in school, middle school, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It would have never happened. And it took that long for us to actually meet and have babies.
Yeah.
That's a great story to tell your kids. Like,
yeah,
that.
I know.
That's amazing.
Dang. That's okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate you for sharing that. All right, so let's get in. So we met each other through a Facebook group, and then you said that you come on and talk about a sex relation, or what is it? You're a sex coach, basically, a relationship sex coach. So I told Raven about this, my wife, and I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about it, because I was like, I don't really want her coming onto our podcast trying to teach us how to have sex and all this other stuff. I think it's a little invasive, but I was like, you know what? It could be interesting. And not necessarily, I guess I don't really want to talk about me and your sex life on the podcast, but I guess kind of talk about what it is that you do. Like, what does that involve? When someone comes to you saying that they need a relationship sex coach, what does that mean for people that don't understand, i.e. myself?
Well, it means that they're unhappy in their relationship.
Okay.
I mean, you can have the most deepest love for one another, but if your body and your soul is not happy with what it's receiving, you tend to get depressed. Women start feeling out of place. They feel unloved, despite the fact that, your partner is telling you, oh my God, I love you so much. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, I love your body. But if you're sexually unsatisfied, that leads to a lot of problems in your relationship. Not just, the way you start feeling about yourself. For us women, we don't get orgasms easily. It's not like a snap of the finger and we're like, woo! For some women, it takes us a while, and it, requires a lot of foreplay, long foreplay, and so on and so forth. But what we don't learn growing up is actually how to talk about our own sexual needs. Most of us were raised very religious. We know that people have sex. We know we have sex to have babies, but we're not taught is, well, what if my body needs this and this? How am I supposed to ask for this and this?
Right.
For instance, child 5 years old starts, learning their bodies, touching themselves, and it's always seen as something negative. Don't do that. Don't touch yourself there. For that person, for that little child, oh my God, it feels so good. But everybody's telling me it's so wrong. So we grow up with with our sexual desires being as something wrong. It's either, okay, yeah, you do it, but it's not a choice. It's like work. Okay. Sometimes you got to do it if you don't want to, and sometimes you might have fun, but don't ask for too much. That's exactly how we're raised. We have sexual education in school, and we know where the vagina is, we know where the ovaries are, we know the penis, we know all of that. But we don't know is, okay, so if my partner does this and I really like it, how can I tell him? Or I read this erotic novel and this really turned me on. How can I speak to my partner and ask him, well, could we maybe try this without feeling really odd or, turning completely red or not finding the correct words, to approach my partner and say, hey, well, I really like what we've been doing, but I saw this BDSM stuff that I was reading and I really like this. Because for a lot of people, BDSM is super kinky. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that full-blown, beat the hell out of you, walk out the house with marks all on your body. It's not all about that. For some people, kinky sex is just foreplay. For another, kinky sex is fingering. For another, kinky sex is just trying to foreplay with a blindfold. For each and every person, kinky sex is completely different. And to learn how to bring that into your relationship and to ask for certain things, or can we try this, or could you do that? Or even for us women, we're not very open about telling our partner when he goes down south, oh yeah, right there, keep it like that. Despite to where men are very, they're very open about that. They will take our heads and they will push us down and tell us exactly what to do. But us women, we don't want to give our partners like this bad feeling like you're not doing it right. What the hell are you doing? Why? And so we'll go like, oh yeah, it feels so good. Oh, you're so great. Mm-hmm. The wrong way to do it. That's why we're so sexually unsatisfied. So and that's the long story short.
No. Okay. So how did you find yourself into this field of work? Did you go to school for this?
I actually got my bachelor's degree in science. I was a marriage counselor for 5 years until my own marriage kind of started going down the gutter. It's always hard to kind of train yourself. For me, in my eyes, I was perfect. Mm-hmm. I was a perfect wife. I was a perfect mother. We had a little boy at that time. I was perfect. I was taking a lot of my bullshit patience, life with me home. I was starting to push my husband away. I wasn't listening to what my body wanted. I wasn't listening to what he wanted. And my husband had an affair. But his affair was the best thing that could have happened to us because it made me look at our marriage from a different perspective and made me look at myself from a complete different view. I was raised as the third of three girls. My father always wanted a boy. So I was the perfect daughter for my father, that he taught me how to play football. I can change my tires. I can change my oil. He basically raised me as his son. Mm-hmm. To my mother, my father was married before. He had 2 daughters. My mother, I'm an only child from my mother. And for my mom, I was the little princess. I did the Miss pageants. I was singing. I was acting. I was the perfect little daughter for my mom. So I was always basically trimmed to be perfect. And my mother always told me, one day when you're married, you have to be 5 different things. You have to be a good cook, a good housekeeper, a good mother, a lady in the streets, but a whore in bed.
Mm.
I knew how to do all 4. I knew I'm good with that, but the whore in the bed was like, okay, well, I guess I need to know what I gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that a little bit too wordy, and I use sex as my drug.
Okay.
Any man I wanted, I snapped my fingers, and I had every man, but it was always about them. It was always what they wanted. I always made them feel like they were the king. I'm sorry for all the ladies that came after me. But that was that was how I was, the way I was raised. It was what I was actually seeing, basically. That it doesn't have anything to do with me. It always has to do with the man. The man has to be satisfied, not I need to be satisfied. I'm gonna need longer. He needs to learn how to slow his pace and fulfill me. No, it was always about them. So I took that into my marriage as well. It was always about him. But my husband is also the type of man that it's about me. He was trying to please me. Okay. And all the faking the orgasms, not even in the, physically in the room, but mentally I was somewhere completely different. A man feels that.
Right.
And it came to the point where we were having sex like maybe once every 4 or 5 months.
Oh, wow.
And I understood when I found out that he had an affair 6 months after it was ended, and it put me in a complete hole. Through college, I really wanted to go into child psychology, but talking about sex always came very natural to me. It wasn't ever a problem. So my professors kind of pushed me in a different, it was like, you need to be somewhere else, because not everybody can do what you do. Nobody can talk about sex without getting read. It's like when you talk about sex, it's like you're giving out a recipe. Like it doesn't phase you. So we need people in this area, because people feel comfortable talking to you openly because you're so open about it. That pushed me into that way. But when my marriage kind of started crumbling and I didn't see any way out and I went into deep depression, I got my first coaches and I was like, okay, now I see how this stuff works. Therapy is always something, it's for years, and it goes on and on and on, and you never learn how to get out of whatever you're going through. You don't learn how to do that for everything. It's like, okay, now we're gonna get you out of here now. And then something else comes up and then they're back in therapy, and then they come back in therapy, and they never heal, because it's always like it's putting all of it on me, instead of being like, okay, well, you need to look at your life. You need to realize, what you're doing in your marriage. You need to realize if he's not listening to you, it's not about communication, because we communicate all the time. But sometimes it's more like one person is speaking French and the other one is speaking Japanese. They're telling each other with force how much they love each other, but the other one isn't understanding because they have a different love language.
Right.
They show their love completely differently. And for the one person, showing their love is, I don't know, yard work, planting beautiful plants and roses and have the yard looking beautiful. That's his way of showing his wife how much he loves her. Okay. And for her, it's shopping. What woman doesn't love to shop? But for some women, actually, it is a sign of showing their love for their partner. So when their partner is out shopping and they don't bring them something home, they feel, he didn't think about me. He doesn't love me. As of when she goes shopping and she sees, I don't know, something as simple as a tie. And she'll see the tie and she'll think about her significant other. She'll like, oh, I'm going to make him so happy. I'm going to buy it. And she brings it home. And for him, it's like, well, she was shopping. Yeah. And that's what she does. It's, it's not what I'm supposed to feel loved about that. He doesn't see it as her giving him love, like showing love. Yeah, we can say I love you 1,000 times a day. But actions speak louder than words. That's why we all have a different love language.
Right. Okay. So going back to your mom. So the way that she raised you, was that just an old school mentality that she had, or was that like a cultural thing? Because usually you hear like the things that you described, the 5 things that a woman should have that you described earlier. Usually you hear that in like different cultures, such as like the Asian community or something like that. So was it a cultural thing, or was it like just the old school mentality?
I think it was a mix out of both. My mother was very old school, and very cultural. In Germany, women take care of their men.
Okay.
Like even young boys. Like.
Oh, your mom's German.
My mom's German.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't catch that earlier. My mom's German.
And like, American boys, they learn how to wash clothes. They have their chores in the house. They have to help in the household. As of in Germany, no, they don't. Even now, when I'm talking to my friends, and my son with 16 has to take out the trash, he has to vacuum the house, he has to help in the household, and they're like, what? He does that? I'm like, well, yeah, he's gonna move out soon, and he needs to learn how to take care of his own household.
Yeah.
Oh no, my son will bring home the clothes, so I'll wash his clothes. Like, what? We're in 2020. What? But it's just how we're raised.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very, very, very glad that I had 2 different parents. And my mother's, despite that, she's very German, she took a lot of American stuff into her house, into how she raised me. Despite the fact that, we were 3 girls that my mom, we all lived together. She's very American in a lot of points. So she raised me, and I raised my son to where like, oh yeah, you're not a pasha. You need to help in this household. And he's big. He's a big guy, 16. He looks like a football player, but he plays basketball. He can eat. Yeah. He can help do the dishes. He can help clean the house. When I'm downstairs doing the laundry, I would take his laundry and I'll put it in a basket and like, you need to fold this and you need to put it in the trunk. Right. So in Germany, it was, my mom was raised where you have to take care of your husband. Yeah. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to take care of the children. The only thing he needs to do is bring the money home. Yeah, that doesn't work in my life.
Yeah, I guess that is the both. That's both. So that's old school and cultural, because those are things that you hear back in the early 1900s, or early 1900s and so on. So the whole with getting out of the whole submissive thing, women submitting to their man thing. In a different way, because they still do it, but not so much as the man. All he does is bringing home the bacon type of mentality.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, whenever people are looking for a sex coach, when would you suggest someone to start looking your way? Is it something that they do as soon as they find out that their sex life is kind of going downhill, or is it something that you should do whenever even if you don't think that you need any sex coaching? Like when do people typically come to you?
Mostly It's women that come to me.
Women, okay.
Women that come to me, and it's always like, well, I was talking to a friend of mine and she told me something and it made me wonder. That's basically, how they start off a conversation, especially after 50 Shades of Grey came out. Now all women are, they're dreaming about this BDSM, tie me to a bed and just ravage me.
Mm-hmm.
Women really like that shit. We do. I'm going to be honest. I think all women, we all dream about it when you look at it from that type of perspective, not as, the whipping and, the pain, but the whole tie me up to a bed and just ravage me. Do whatever you feel you need to do with my body and worship my body like a goddess. That's what women read when they were reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Right. So
he was worshiping her body, and that's what women want. But how am I supposed to tell my husband that?
It's kind of weird.
If I tell him, then he's going to feel like inadequate because, I want something different.
Right.
That's where, it really, where it really starts. A lot of couples come to me before they get married. And, they're like, okay, well, we need some help, because we want to make our first night as husband and wife really special. Because, we move in together, we're already having sex, and then we get married and, nothing really changed except for the last name.
Right.
So let's make the first night of being married like, oh, wow. A lot of couples come to me with that, or everybody has a different reason why they're coming. A lot of couples come after, they've been married for 20, 30 years, and bodies go through changes, illness happens, but yet, we still long for intimacy. And sex isn't always pure penetration, but it's what we were taught.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So explain that a little bit. Sex isn't always pure penetration. So it's like, obviously it's a mind thing as well, a cognitive thing. So I guess trying to think. I guess like, what are you saying? Like, is it like you're talking through it type thing? If it's not always a penetration thing?
Sex always begins in the mind.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for men, it happens like really quickly. Like they'll think about one thing, they can think about an ass, and we're already at sex. We're already at penetration. We're already doing doggy style.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at women, sex starts in the mind. It all has to come down to, like, it's putting together a puzzle. He has to smell right. He has to look at you right. He has to treat you right. And through the time of the day, our sex drive changes. Like one time we can think it's super sexy if we're in the kitchen cooking and he'll come up behind us and be like, oh, baby, you look so sexy. Oh, wow, if you just knew what I would do to you, I'd just pull you up and sit you on the counter and just eat you out. Yeah, that could be super sexy, Lord Jesus. And it's like you opened up a dam and it's just woof.
Yeah.
And then another time be like, what the hell is wrong with you? I cook on this table.
Mm-hmm.
Are you crazy? We're very complicated. I'll put it like that.
Yes, y'all are.
But I'm sorry.
No. So what is one of the most interesting stories that you've dealt with, or one of the most interesting couples that you've dealt with, or if you can share it?
I've been coaching for over 14 years now, and my first couple that I thought at the beginning was going to be super complicated turned out to be my best friend.
Oh wow, okay.
You know, we're best friends now.
Best friends before, or y'all became best friends?
We became best friends.
Okay.
Her whole life completely changed. I always say, you know, sex has a lot to do with your money. And for her, everything changed. She wanted so much in life, and she has a wonderful husband, but he was always very he was the good guy. And all girls we all like a little bad guy every now and then. So he was like this super good guy. He was a firefighter, you know, laid back, very chilled. He never asked her for anything. And she was at the point where she felt completely unloved. She's had 3 kids. So, you know, women, our bodies change. And so she's feeling all types of ways about her body. He never gave her like this feeling of lust. Like he would lust her. He wants her. Nothing ever. Nothing. The only time that they would have sex was when she came to the point where she was like, either he fucks me now or I'm leaving him.
Mm.
And she got to the point where she would actually say that to him. Either you fuck me now or I'm leaving.
Okay.
So she got to the point where she was completely through. So I got them both into a session. When I do my coachings, I always do it one-on-one. So it's used me and my client. And then I bring in their significant other, husband, wives,
Okay.
you know.
I was
whatever.
about to ask how that worked. Okay.
And you know, because there's always 2 sides of the story. So when I asked the question of, so who's in charge of initiating sex? Both of them went like this. So for him, it was her. So if she's not coming, he's not doing anything. And for her, it was, you know, well, it's his job because he's the man, and men are, you know, normally the sexual being. If he's not coming, then he doesn't want me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always, you know, a misunderstanding, because from his point, the way he was raised and he grew up was his father always wanted sex. And he always heard his mom talking about, oh, I'm so tired and I don't want him and he doesn't make me happy. And now I have to have sex with him, when she was talking like to her friends, and he would overhear that. So for him, because he loved her so much, it was like, well, I don't want her to have the feeling that she's obligated to do her job as my wife to have sex. Mm. I want her to want me. So he just didn't do anything because, you know, he didn't want her to feel some type of way about him, with him always coming, despite the fact that he always wanted to have sex with his wife because she was beautiful. She's, you know, she's darling. He lusted her, but he never showed it. Right. He didn't want to pressure her. To where he didn't want her. Okay. Because, you know, she was raised where, you know, men always want sex. Men are always horny. Men are these and men are that. And, you know, men are the sexual being. And for women to be a sexual being, to say, yeah, I just want to be, you know, I need it from the back, from the side, from the front, you know, I got hormones. But it's not normal for women to talk about that. It's not like we walk around and be like, oh yeah, I'm so wet. Yeah. Men can walk around and be like, oh Lord, I'm so hard. But a woman can't do that. So, you know, when the guy was like, so she was like, he doesn't want me, and felt unwanted and felt unloved. So when we got to that point and, you know, she realized, she was like, oh, okay. And he was like, really? You want me that much? But you never said anything. Yeah, communication. There is no such thing as adult sexual education. We don't have that. I'm trying to start it.
That's what I was saying. That's what it sounds like. You starting adult.
Trying to get there and have, you know, real sexual education for grown-ups, because a lot of couples separate because they feel unloved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you know, a false communication. A lot of couples separate because the other one is having an affair because he feels inadequate for his wife, or she feels inadequate for her husband, or he doesn't want her, so she's finding it somewhere else. When it was, you should have said something. And being able to give yourself the permission to say, honey, I need sex at least 3 times a week. Yeah, it doesn't come that easy for everyone to give themselves the permission to say, I am a sexual being, I have hormones, and when my body is screaming, I can give her the permission to get what she wants. And that inner goddess can come out whenever she feels like it.
Okay. You got any questions, Raven?
Nope.
No?
She hitting the points here.
So anytime people have came to you and it just didn't work out, obviously if it doesn't work out when they come to you when it comes to sex, and maybe they just, is it like the end of the road for the most part, do you think? Or is it something, or do they just need something else? Like maybe it's not the sex that's ruining their marriage or relationship.
Often it's the relationship starts shaking, and then the sex gets really bad. And if a body doesn't feel the intimacy, if your soul isn't feeling intimacy, then you start letting go of the love. You start letting go of the relationship. Because what we forget is once we get married, now comes in the work. Just because you signed your name doesn't mean you don't have to work for it anymore. And being married is a day by day, 24/7, 365 days a year work that you have to put into your marriage. Okay. And for some, it comes super easily, especially at the beginning. But the longer you're married, I mean, I've been married for 19 years almost.
In the game for a minute.
We've been together for 19 years. We've been married for 18. We just celebrated our 18th year. It's hard. It doesn't come easy. Like, you know that person back to back. And, for women, if he touches me like this, as next he's going here. And if he kisses me like that, I already know what's happening. Like, there's nothing new. So you have to work on your relationship to keep bringing new in. So it doesn't get boring. So it doesn't get to where like, oh, this is like playing memory. Like, you already know where the card is. You already know what's coming up next. Oh. You have to keep the excitement in. And it's not just her job, it's his job. Both have to work on their marriage. And when the sex isn't good, that's basically where, okay, let's go. We're separating. It's no good anymore. We can't save anything. And that's the wrong way to go. And as I said at the beginning, my husband's affair was the best thing that could have ever happened to our marriage.
Wow. You don't hear that. That might be the title of this episode, actually. That'd be kind of interesting. But yeah, you never hear women say that. You're normally
so there's an author, Esther Peel, and she has a book, The State of Affairs. The State of the Affairs, or something like that. Rethinking.
Oh, you're reading that right now, aren't you?
Yeah. And so I heard her talk about, you know, her husband and when there was an affair and how the way she had to look at it. And you have to think from the other person's point of view, like, okay, well, what made them do that? How did they feel when they did that? Okay, so maybe I need to take a step back and try to understand where they were coming from when they decided to make that decision. And so I've heard it, and I felt like her point was so interesting that I went out and I got the book. So that is a book that I'm reading now. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. And I always say, you know, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes because the affair is not the problem. The problem was, you know, was there before the affair even happened. So now we have to get down to, let's see over the affair. That's the hard part. And look, okay, well, where was the problem? And to actually say, I can, now it's okay. Now I don't have a problem. But to actually say it was my fault is not easy. To actually look at myself to someone, you know, I was so perfect. I was a perfect wife and every man would love to be married to me and all the things that I do for you and blah, 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 blah. I'm so perfect. How could you do this to me? Yeah, well, I wasn't perfect. I fucked up in our marriage tremendously. I didn't have an affair. I wasn't sleeping with anybody else. But I neglected our marriage. I took our marriage as given. Okay, we married now. We married people. I don't got to do nothing no more. He's mine. I don't have to work. I don't have to, you know, fight for him. I don't have to do this and I don't have to do that. Oh, I did all that. Now he's mine. I don't have to do that anymore. Well, yeah. Despite the fact that I was a marriage counselor. But it was like, oh, I'm doing my career. My career is important. Both of us want to be successful. So, you know, he's doing his job and, you know, he was always away from home. He still to this day, he travels a lot for work. We're both, you know, successful, you know, oh, well, but I wasn't, despite the fact that all of my friends were always saying, Michiko, your husband is so fucking beautiful. You need to be careful. How can you feel so comfortable when he's, you know, in Brazil or when he's in New York or, you know, wherever? You know how many women are running behind your husband? No, I don't gotta worry. He's mine.
Yeah.
I know what I can do. It's like a potion magic spell. He's fixed. No.
Got him.
I was never the jealous type because I was the wild, sex is my drug little girl. Yeah. I was, you know, doing my thing. And you know, the men that I was sleeping with, they always had problems. Like they were unhappy. And I was like, I didn't want a relationship. I preferred men that were in relationships because that made sure that I wouldn't have to do anything except for have my fun. So it was like I wasn't even looking at, you know, what the women were going through, but I wasn't the one that was having the affair. Mm-hmm. That's also how I looked at it. It's like, well, you wasn't doing your job, so, you know, I helped you out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so for me, it was like I was doing my job. It wasn't that often, but I was doing my job. I gave him what he needed. At least that is what I thought, because I didn't realize that, you know, me laying there and thinking like, oh my God, okay, so I got to be at the doctor at 5 and I got this appointment and that appointment, because women can do that. We can be having sex and we can be thinking about our chores or how the bedroom's set up. It can, you know, slide our mind off to where, you know, a lot of people have where their bedroom is set up. Women do the ironing. They have, you know, the laundry basket in the bedroom. When we got kids, we have the kids' toys and bottles and what else you have you in the bedroom. And I was a working mom. So when I would open my eyes, I would see, you know, oh my God, I didn't finish doing my ironing. I got to do that. and you see the bottle, and then now your mind's over at the child, like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't wake up. And you're not in the here and now. And your husband or your boyfriend, your fiance, whoever feels that you're not there. Your body's there, but you're not there.
Okay.
So I also, in my coaching, I was like, okay, so now let's look at your bedroom. How is your bedroom set up? Okay, so the kids' pictures need to get out the bedroom. Pictures of your parents, yeah, they need to get out of the bedroom.
That's kind of weird. Yeah, people don't think about that.
A lot of people have like their wedding picture, like where everybody on it have, hanging behind their bed, their bed headboard.
Yeah.
They'll have a big picture. And so, like when he goes up and he's looking at that picture, her mom's looking down at you.
Sorry,
your
Mom.
mom's looking down at you. Or, pictures of the kids, around the room. Like, we love our children, but we got the living room, we got hallways, we got dining room maybe. Let's put the pictures in there. Keep the bedroom as a sanctuary. Like,
right.
this is your sanctuary. Who wants to have sex with the hamper right beside you, or the pile of
laundry,
folding clothes that's still in the bedroom? Yeah, every now and then when you're going to have a quickie, you can look over that. But don't wonder why you're not having sex at least 3-4 times a week. When you go into your bedroom and everybody's on their phone, reading, or reading a book, or, on the phone, right? Or on the tablet or whatever, or have the TV in the bedroom. TVs in the bedroom can be very nice if you're watching porn. But if you're watching the news, if you're watching the game, what type of excitement is that bringing to have intimacy?
I was like, should we good until she said TV. I was like, we ain't get no pictures of nothing like that on no laundry baskets.
Definitely got a TV in there.
Said, you got that TV in the room. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do the Netflix and chill in the bedroom, of course. But it's like, what are you watching before you go to bed? Like that's something that you should think about. If you're watching something that has to do with politics, if you're watching sports, if it's not going to bring you into that mood. So when your wife goes and lays down and does, that sexy laying thing that women like to do, you ain't seeing it. Because you're so fixated on the TV and, oh, he got the ball, run, doing one of those, and she's laying there like, and she pulls up her shirt so you just see the panties. All you don't see it because you're fixated, and she'll turn around and be like, okay, not tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'm not saying it happens, I'm not saying it's the two of y'all, but I'm just saying that's what happens.
Yeah. And
at some point it becomes, normal. And you're not, it's like you see her and she's there, but you don't see her. And if she's not making that first move, you don't see her. And the same for her. If she's sitting there and she's watching her soaps, I don't know what's on, like Empire, or I don't know, I'm not too much for TV.
Yeah, it's not much going on right now anyway.
But she's watching her stuff, and he's sitting there, and he got his boxers on, he's shirtless, and he's going, doing one of the typical men things, like laying on the bed like this, right? And he's flexing. And watching her soaps. And then he'll flex again, and she'll feel it. And she'll look over and be like, are you cold? You want me to give you a blanket?
Yeah.
Because she's not in the right mindset.
Well.
So you have to plan. Sometimes really for marriages, you have to plan. date nights. You have to plan sex nights. Like I always tell a lot of my clients, like put in his phone, like program his phone with time, date, sex.
Oh.
Date night. Be in the right mindset tonight.
Yeah.
No games, no PlayStation, no football, no basketball, no soccer, whatever the men like. Tonight's our night. And plan it. There is no shame in planning a night together. Or planning a date night, especially now with Corona and everybody's still kind of on lockdown. Plan a date night. Y'all can have some beautiful dates at home.
Mm-hmm.
Plan it. Plan it.
Yeah.
And have fun with it. Be spontaneous. Read a book. Figure out or ask, what do you like? Would you like champagne or strawberries? Would you like some sushi? You want me to lay down naked and put the sushi on?
Decorate myself.
Okay, talking my language.
Or some champagne, you can sip it out of my belly button. I put some strawberries and some whipped cream around it.
Yeah. We laughing, but you shoot. Yeah. Those are interesting ways to introduce those type of things into the sex life and stuff.
Life is supposed to be fun, and sex is supposed to be fun, and it's not supposed to be looked at work or to have children.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have sex with your partner without penetration, that's deep.
Yeah.
When a woman can have an orgasm just because her husband looks her dead straight in the eyes while he's inside of her and says, "Come now," and she was like,
that's
deep.
Yeah. Start looking in your eyes.
And I think every couple deserves something like that. Every couple deserves the type of relationship where it's fun. They're meeting at eye level. They understand each other. They have sex where other people is like, you can only have that if you're dreaming it. No, make your dreams a reality. Yeah. I know I do, and I can't complain.
Oh, shoot.
And neither can my clients.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so I know some people are wondering, okay, you help them with the intimacy part, the connecting part, the communication and stuff like that. Do you actually does someone come to you and they can say, how can I do this sexual act better?
Yes.
Okay. You do obviously not live demonstrations, but show demonstrations or have illustrations to where you show people what to do or how to do something better.
Yeah. I just did, the month of May is Masturbation May, right? Yes, it's known for Masturbation May, and I encourage everyone to masturbate. And a lot of women don't know how to squirt. So I did a demonstration, not on myself, but in pictures, and taught women how to find their spot to squirt. And the messages I got after that just make my day, and I just be smiling all day like, ooh, I know what she's doing right now.
I've never heard of that before. Masturbation May.
Masturbation May, yep. For men and women. Encouraging women more to masturbate. For men, it's something still very normal. Most men masturbate at some point of their lives. Some men masturbate excessively. Some, just do it for the hell of it. Women masturbate, but it's not. They don't really say it openly. Like, yeah, I masturbate. Try to do that at a party. Oh yeah, I masturbate all the time.
Everybody look at you crazy.
Crazy looks the people be giving you. But it's also more for, masturbation, menstrual cramps. Bye-bye. No more If you masturbate when you get your period, yeah, you won't have any pain because it takes your pain. sadly to say, ladies, but yeah, the saying, oh yeah, I have a headache, I can't have sex tonight, it's not going to work for a lot of men anymore, because they all know that a good orgasm is a natural painkiller. So your headache's going to be gone if he does the right job.
Mm.
So even for women, you know, that have excessive headaches and migraines, if they masturbate, it's a natural healer. So, you know, the pain goes away. And also learning how their body works. I mean, when we were young, and a guy, you know, he's just nibbled on your neck, you're like, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's like high school
Right?
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like he nibbles it, like go deeper, deeper, go, little deeper, right? It's like our bodies change and what our bodies desire change. So it's always like learning our own bodies and seeing what has changed or what's different. And even being able to teach our husbands, like, touch me here, do this, move your finger like this, and see what happens.
Mm.
Because we change. And if you don't know how to put yourself to where you're just about to come or you're about to squirt, if you don't know how to do it, how can you teach your husband to? How can you tell your significant other, this is what my body needs in order to orgasm? And it's just like, if you don't know how to make yourself happy, how the hell is somebody supposed to know how to make you happy?
Okay. Cool. And then mostly women come to you, right? Most of your clients
Women
are women?
and men. A lot of men come to me after their wives have done coachings with me, because now they feel like, okay, now I need to know how to do it.
Okay.
Like my wife is here now, and I feel like completely insignificant for her. You need to teach me. I need to open myself to that horizon in order to feel, you know, secure.
Right.
And once you're in that sexual mindset, your whole life changes. You make more money. You know, you have that strength inside of you to tell, you know, your boss may be like, okay, well, I need a raise because blah 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 blah.
Mm.
You get to the point. I just wrote a blog Monday. I think we're last Monday on LinkedIn exactly about that topic.
Okay.
Better sex brings better money.
I have to look that one up. So
I'll send you the link.
Okay. And how can people reach you?
I am, of course, all social media, because my coachings are always online. Because I can work internationally that way. On LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram,
And they just
and of
look
course
you up by
my
name?
webpage.
They just look you up by
Just
name?
Google my name and you'll find me everywhere. And I'll send you all the links so you can link them to your podcast.
Okay.
Or to your podcast.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
If you really want more in your life, call me. I always offer.
Yeah.
Well, not just the two of you, even the listeners.
Yeah.
I always offer complimentary calls. You know, I always say we always have to talk before we can make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's really just, you know, maybe you just need one thing. You don't need a coaching. Maybe you just need one thing. Call me. What do you have to lose? Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can give you that one thing that's keeping you from exploding in different types of ways.
Yeah. Got real graphic real quick. Okay. Michiko, we appreciate you for coming on today.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, this is interesting. Obviously we never had a sex coach come on to our podcast, so it's a definitely total different dynamic. And I think a lot of our listeners appreciate you. What you drinking on? You got alcohol in there?
It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, no, it's 1 o'clock. No, it's lemon and mint water.
Oh, okay. I was about to say you already getting turned early Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you for having on. We may have to have you come on later on too, and later on in the shows. It'd be dope.
Most definitely, I'd love that.
Maybe we can have our listeners listen in as we get coached. That'd be interesting. But that's like 500 episodes from now, maybe. I don't know. I'm joking. All right, Michiko, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You have a good one. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. This has been another episode of Puppet Therapy Podcast with your host, Chris.
And Ray.
All right. Peace.